lost under the surface. Don't know what you're expecting of me, but under the pressure of walking in your shoes. Every step that I take is another mistake to you. Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. Can't you see that you're smothering me? Holding too tightly, afraid to lose control. 'Cause everything that you thought I would be is falling apart right in front of you.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, my YouTube channel. The channel that I use to go over and clarify and talk about my recently published book, The Sleeper Agent, The Rise of Lyme Disease, Chronic Illness, and the Great Imitator Antigen of Biological Warfare. I am through the first of 4 boxes. I got 100 copies of my book, and I think it's probably 25 in each box, but I'm just about done the first box. I've been selling it, but I've been giving a lot of copies away too to my close friends. And there was a girl that I was talking to down at the coffee shop who was really interested, and I was meeting with her frequently to talk about it, and I gave her a copy. She had to go back to whatever state she was from, but she'll be back in the summertime, so looking forward to seeing her again. But in the meantime, I will be appearing on my publisher's podcast on Monday, and I definitely will be doing a lot of interviews. I will be a very busy person. This is going to be my area. I had an older site called The Garden of Great Work, and I used to cover a lot more different things, but I decided I wanted to just kind of stick to this area. This is kind of like my specialty. The history of stealth biological warfare, chronic disease, immune tolerance, the condition that Erich Traub had discovered and made his life work, and he is a central figure in my book. The mysteries of Erich Traub are unraveled in this book. The book is a very in-depth look at the history of stealth biological warfare, and in this video I'm going to cover more about what this great imitator antigen is. So we will cover that, and this great imitator antigen is what is responsible for the outcome called immune tolerance, for the condition or disease called immune tolerance, which was the basis of Erich Traub's life. And Erich Traub is a very central, this book basically revolves around, he is at the center of this book because it was his discoveries. He discovered immune tolerance with a virus called lymphocytic chorea meningitis, and he began to use this nasty antigen that is found on it to weaponize other pathogens for biological warfare and to cause this immune tolerance. That was kind of like his signature. He didn't make the antigen himself. He found it in LCM and then was able to kind of isolate it and start producing it on a mass scale and using it to adapt this antigen to other things. And for example, the Lyme disease spirochete. But it's not just found on that. It's actually a viral protein. Originally it was a viral protein, and then he started putting it on other things, but there are some bacteria that also contain this, and like the pneumococci, and I believe meningococci, and there was also the immune tolerance phenomenon was seen with that, and they were calling it immune paralysis, which it may even be a better term than immune tolerance, because the tolerance phenomenon is not just that the immune system is tolerating the pathogen. It's being paralyzed. It's being thrown into disarray and basically suppressed to such an extent that it can't fight back, so it's forced to tolerate harmful pathogens and such that it should be keeping out of the body. But it is a nasty, very toxic lipid. It should never be injected, even though they are doing that with many, because this antigen has the same effect whether it's delivered, through a spirochete, or if it's delivered by injecting it, like they do with shots. It has the same effect on the immune system. A lot of people don't really understand that these antigens are basically the cause of the disease. They are toxins, biotoxins, just nasty, like a poison. That's why people with Lyme disease feel basically like they've been poisoned. But he found it on foot and mouth disease as well. Actually, foot and mouth disease virus, that virus of cattle that he became an expert in, LCM virus, which is the lymphocytic choriomeningitis. It's on the Lyme disease spirochete, and later on, in the 80s, they had synthesized it as a synthetic adjuvant called tripalmitoyl-S-glycerol-cysteine, or PAM3-Cis. And Kathleen Dixon of Truth Cures and some of them, they were the first. They were like a bunch of girls that were like Lyme disease activists, and Kathleen Dixon used to work for Pfizer and was a chem analyst, and she was the one who brought out a lot of information about PAM3-Cis, so that credit goes to her. However, and it was the girls at Truth Cures who gave me my first understanding of immune tolerance and what it was. It was like Laura Hoven and Jenna Blair were the ones that taught me about it, and then I kind of took it upon myself, and I did give them a shout in the beginning of the book, just acknowledging them and saying thank you. But then what I didn't realize back then was that Erich Traub was its discoverer and pioneer. I had no idea. But then, see, I was already looking into the history of Lyme disease. I had already decided I was going to write this book. And then I started looking into Erich Traub, and I was like, holy smokes, this guy is the one who discovered it. I realized that, and he's not credited for it because obviously they were trying to kind of hide his findings, and they were trying to hide his findings as it related. They were trying to hide immune tolerance as it related to infectious disease. Because it not only throws the immune system into disarray, it would throw the entire public health system into disarray if they were to acknowledge that, because their paradigms are completely flawed. And their tests are fraudulent. They're not... See, and a lot of the like mainstream American scientists, they knew about his work, and they knew they have just as much ability to understand this stuff as someone like me. But of course, the people that did know about it chose to keep quiet about it. But this book is very important because it brings out so much about this great imitator antigen and what it does, and the entire spectrum of immune tolerance, and how we are using outdated science that hasn't been updated. They could have understood the mechanisms of chronic disease starting in 1960, but they instead made immune tolerance about organ transplants and gave two people that weren't even nominated together the Nobel Prize for immune tolerance as it related to organ transplants. And I think it was done that way on purpose. Absolutely. But what this great imitator antigen is like it's an antigen that it cleaves other material, like, so in your body, when it's exposed to things like your tissues and such, it is able to cleave tissues off from the host and incorporate it into its makeup. And it's able to kind of accumulate itself, make more of itself, not necessarily like a virus, but sort of. It is, and what it does is it uses the host's carbohydrates, right, to make more copies of itself. And actually there are viruses like Newcastle disease virus that kind of break themselves apart into these antigens, and then they're able to make more copies of itself and such. But I'll go into that another time. For this, I just wanted to talk about the great imitator antigen. And they called it the great imitator antigen because it mirrors so many other diseases, but that's because it reactivates dormant viruses and causes many other diseases. So it is a really nasty protein. On bacteria, they usually refer to it as a lipoprotein. It's literally a lipid protein. And if you think about how olive oil clumps together in water, it doesn't mix. The same is true in the blood. It doesn't mix. And I would say generally lipids should never be injected into the blood. It doesn't matter what they are, because actually there's other ones like polyethylene glycol. It's another adjuvant they use, and it's like a lipid from plants. And when they inject that also causes tolerance. And that chemical that causes tolerance is in the latest shot that they've been trying to push so much. And that shot, it's basically messenger RNA that creates, it programs your own cells to create that great imitator antigen. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that people don't know that, because the public health system is becoming extremely reckless. And I think I know why. And if you read my book, you may too agree with me there on that, because the last chapter is just ridiculous. You know, talking about M.P. Chumakov and his cozy relationship with Albert Sabin, and then, you know, you'll just have to get the book and read it for yourself. But this great imitator antigen was the weapon. That was the weapon. He used, he could use viruses, bacteria, whatever the case, to deliver it, but that antigen itself was the weapon. So it matters not if it's delivered to you from a tick or a needle. The effect is the same. So that is it. I think I will leave it. Oh, there's something else I wanted to talk about. So this autoimmunity thing, I'm probably going to do a separate video on that. Because autoimmunity, or what they're calling autoimmunity, is actually, it happens in parallel to immune tolerance. It happens in parallel to immune tolerance, and I would bet to say that it's actually not even, well, see, this is why the autoimmunity happens, is because that great imitator antigen fuses. It cleaves your tissue and fuses parts of it into itself, but it also leaves residue of itself behind on other tissues. So the immune system that is working may attack itself. But then again, a lot of the stuff that they're saying is autoimmune is more likely to just be reactivated virus, because usually with a lot of these autoimmune disorders, or what they're saying are autoimmune disorders, there's no inflammation involved, and they're just kind of, they may have that rheumatoid arthritis antigen and whatnot. So they're making the mistake of thinking that these people have this hyperactive immune system that's just deciding that it's so strong that it's just deciding to attack itself now. But that is not an accurate picture of this. It's that not so much that it's a hyperactive immune response or hyperactive immune system, but that it is a confused immune system and just completely thrown into disarray. And that great imitator antigen leaves residues of itself all over the tissues and such. So it wreaks havoc in the body. But this autoimmunity thing appears to be in parallel to the immune tolerance. So I wanted to make that point clear, and I will probably do a video about that. I will be doing a podcast. Well, I will be going on a podcast to do an interview with my publisher on Monday, and I'm sure there will be other interviews. I'm sure I will be appearing on other places too. So we have that lined up. I have that Monday. And in the meantime, if you want to learn the mysteries of Dr. Erich Traub and the mysteries of stealth biological warfare, I would suggest you get a copy of my book, The Sleeper Agent. It is available, like I said, on Amazon and at my site, thesleeperagent.com. So, with that said, everybody take care of yourself, be yourself, build yourself, and I will see you on the other side.
rescue.